is a busy Friday here in the newsroom, in the sports department. I am joined by Tim Staudt. What's going on? A lot.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. Payday Friday, which is always good.
It's Friday.
But we do have, I think, one of the biggest stories of the day, because, like you said when I went in there, there's just more stories that keep getting added on today.
But which are people who are watching more interested in, the Detroit Lions or Michigan State men's basketball? Take your pick.
I'm only going to go with the Lions because that's what I wrote, and I want to save the news about the Michigan State basketball for everybody to tune in later.
Well, I mean, the NFL suspended 4 Lions for illegal gambling on NFL property today. 2 guys got cut right away, C.J. Moore and Quentin Cephas, because they're indefinitely suspended, so they are long gone. And the other 2, most notably receiver Jamison Williams and Stanley Berryhill, they get 6 games. Lions keep them. And so everybody here says, well, how do you think it's going to affect them? I have no idea because I don't think they planned on it, but whether that affects who they take early on in the NFL draft next Thursday in Kansas City or not. I mean, do they need another receiver? Do they need a defensive back? Most people thought they would take a defensive player with picks either 6, 18, or both. Whether they do that or not now remains to be seen. I have not seen, much of a reaction. And they're not going to tell you much, but nobody tells you what they're going to do with a draft. Nobody.
No, because that gives away your whole strategy.
It gives it,
Yeah.
Or if they do tell you, they're lying, so nobody believes them anyway.
Hey, that might be a good plan too. Now, I do have one question about whether or not this affects the draft, and that is, will teams from now on take even more of a look at a player's character as much as their stats?
Well, I think that's one reason why this Jason Carter from Georgia, he had a gun incident in the offseason. Jalen Carter from Georgia. And he's a tremendous player. So he's been interviewed. I mean, without that incident, he might have gone 3, 4, 5, something like that. Overall. With that incident, you got a decision to make. Are you going to have a problem with him as a pro? You know what? When the draft is a guessing game, except in the military, and maybe it is there too. The draft in these pro sports a guessing game, especially with someone who's either been injured, what Jamison Williams has, or if you've had issues off the field or court, which others have. You got to decide: is it worth taking them because the talent's going to be worth it, or do we shy away because if they couldn't handle behavior required in college, why is it going to change when they get all that money as a pro? It's a complete guessing game.
That's the other question people have is, why are you even gambling when you have all this money? Or are you gambling because you have
Well, I don't have any details on what they exactly did and how they did it, when they did it. I don't even know what the NFL rules are about this. I mean, did they call DraftKings? And I don't know.
I do. So on our web story, I do have a link to the NFL's official policy when it comes to gambling, so you can read that. But I do know that Moore and Cephas were suspended because they gambled on NFL games, whereas the other 2 gambled on non-NFL games, although that is still against the rules. You cannot vote on any professional game, Olympics, college, or international.
It'd make Pete Rose blush with those 4 guys. I'm wondering how many more gamble but don't get caught in any sport. In any sport. You'd have your friend do it. Hey, put down $10 for me on the Masters.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Anything.
Put down $5, but here's $20. Go bet for me. I mean, come on.
Especially with teams moving to Vegas, because now there's rumors that they're going to get an MLB team.
I mean, you don't think college athletes say, hey, the Lions or whatever, here's $30, go put that down. Of course it happens. But these clowns didn't they got caught.
And one thing I think a lot of people are saying is this simply immaturity on Williams' part? He's only 22 years old.
Well, have these guys been properly educated when they came into the league on what you can and cannot do, what is and is not expected? You're getting a lot of young, especially in the NBA, you're getting teenagers. And a lot of these teams have guys who are people who are hired full-time simply to keep an eye, on young players to keep them out of trouble because they're not used to this kind of lifestyle.
They're not used to the money either. They're suddenly flushed with all of this income that's seemingly disposable, and they're surrounded by that kind of environment. It's easy to get sucked into it, I guess. Did you want to move on to the other story of the day that just got handed to
Well,
us?
Jay Nakin's of Michigan State's basketball team. He has just declared for the NBA draft after 2 years at Michigan State. He retains the option of coming back to school before the draft if he so desires. A lot of times those guys don't do that. They're chosen on potential more than anything else. He'll have a decision to make because I'm sure the NBA teams think he's probably a pretty good prospect, one way or the other.
And we're going to have that a little bit later on News 10 Sports, right? I think that's what you guys are working on. There's a couple other things, but I don't want to give too much away. It seems like these are, I think, two of the biggest stories of the day. Unless you got something else that just came in.
No, I don't think so. I'm just checking everything just because we're so big. Those are the two big stories of the day, no question about it.
All right. Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can always share with us on social media. And don't forget to vote for Tim. This is one bet that you will not regret. Vote for Tim, MSHOF. That's the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame.org/ballot. I think you're in the best suit category.
Well, we'll have to see one way or the other. I mean, we'll simply have to see. So
Tigers play tonight at 7:05.
they're at Baltimore, yeah.
Starting pitcher has a 13.5 ERA.
Well, take advantage of it one way or the other. Take advantage.
That's what we have tonight, just here on the sports desk, the digital sports desk. Later, we'll have more on who's on at 11, Tim?
I'm sorry?
Who's on at 11?
Fred's on at
Fred?
11 tonight.
And he's got a piece with Susie, right?
Susie Merchant's on the 6 and the 11 tonight amongst everything else. It's a very, very busy day with all this stuff breaking, yeah.
Yep, and I pulled you out of it, and now I'm going to send you right back. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Okay.